I don't know how to explain this. I just need someone to tell me that I am not crazy. It started last Wednesday. Mum made spaghetti for dinner, and everything was normal. She laughed at my dad's terrible jokes, made me set the table, scolded my little brother for playing with his food. Just a normal night. Then, around midnight, I heard a noise. At first, I thought it was the wind, or maybe our cat knocking something over. But when I got up to check, I saw Mum standing in the hallway. She was facing the wall, completely still. A deep, animalistic instinct curled up inside me. Something was wrong. I could feel it in the back of my throat, thick and sour, like I'd swallowed a mouthful of spoiled milk. "Mum?" I whispered. She didn't respond. I stepped closer, bare feet sinking into the carpet. The hallway light was off, but the moonlight through the window cast a soft, silver glow over her silhouette. Too stiff, too straight, like a doll propped up on its feet. "Mum," I said again, voice barely above a breath. Her head snapped towards me. Not turned, snapped, like someone yanking the cord of a broken marionette. Too fast, too sharp. My stomach lurched. Her pupils were huge, swallowing up the color in her eyes. Wide, too wide. I felt like I was looking into two black holes, and if I stared too long, I'd get sucked straight in. She smiled. "Go back to bed, sweetheart." Her voice was normal, too normal. A perfect copy, but empty, hollow, like an actor reciting lines they'd practiced 1,000 times. I still didn't move. She blinked once, slowly, then turned and scuttled back to her room, like nothing happened. I barely slept that night. The next morning, she was in the kitchen making pancakes, humming to herself, acting perfectly normal, like I had imagined the whole thing. Maybe I had? But then things started to get worse. She started watching me. Not in an obvious way, just little things. I did catch her staring when she thought I wasn't looking. Over breakfast, while I did my homework, even when I was just laying on my bed, scrolling on my phone, I'd catch a glimpse of her deep black eyes and a glint from her white teeth in the crack of the door. It was then I noticed something else. Mum wasn't blinking. I mean, she did blink, but not like a normal person. It was too slow and deliberate, like she had to think about it. Sometimes, she went minutes without blinking, just staring at me, her face switching between being completely straight to an ecstatic grin. Her eyes would get glassy, like a taxidermized animal, preserved in perfect realism but undeniably dead. On Saturday I decided to test her. At dinner, I asked her something only my real mum would know. "Mum, remember when we went to Western Supermare and I lost my shoe in the mud?" She smiled and strained. "Course, sweetheart, we never went to Western." I felt sick. My dad and brother didn't even react, just kept eating like normal, like she was normal. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, heart rattling against my ribs. Something was wearing my mother, like a costume. A pelt pulled over something else. Sunday night, I woke up to my bedroom door creaking open. I didn't move. Mum stood there in the doorway, not moving, not breathing, just standing in the doorway, smiling and staring at me in the dark. A breath hitched in my throat. My body screamed at me to run, but I couldn't. I felt like a rabbit frozen in the grass, watching a fox creep closer, knowing the second it moved, it was over. She took a step forward, and another, until she was right next to my bed. The dim glow from the streetlight outside my window barely touched her face, casting deep shadows under her cheekbones, making her eyes look even darker, illuminating her more. She leaned down, slow, until her face was level with mine. I felt her breath on my skin, cold, wrong, like standing in front of an open fridge. "Are you scared of me, sweetheart?" Her voice was so soft, almost sad. I squeezed my eyes shut. My heart hammered against my ribs, so loud she could probably hear it. I don't know how long she stood over me. Seconds, minutes, hours. Then she whispered, her voice catching on her throat, "You should be." I don't remember what happened next. At some point, I must have passed out. When I woke up, she was gone. Everything seemed normal the next morning. Mum made me toast, packed my lunch and kissed my forehead before school, like nothing happened, like she didn't happen. But I know what I saw. From then on, I started avoiding her, taking the long way home, eating dinner as fast as possible before retreating to my room, locking my door at night. It didn't help. Tuesday night, I woke up outside. The cold bit into my skin, my bare feet sinking into the wet grass. The moon was too bright, making everything sharp, too clear. I turned. Mum was standing by the back door, watching me, not moving, not breathing, just smiling. Something about it was worse than before, wider, stretched, like the skin on her face was too tight, her teeth too white, too straight. Then, without warning, she snapped into motion. It was like watching a wild animal, suddenly unleashed from its cage. The way she jerked, too fast and erratic, her body moving with an unnatural, fluid grace, like something not quite human. Her legs tore across the grass, in a blur of limbs, faster than any normal person should move, like a predator closing in on prey. Her arms swung out at odd angles, reaching for the ground as she sprinted towards me, the dark shadows consuming her face, her smile stretching cider, too wide for a mouth, like a panting dog. She didn't run like a person. She hunted. Her bare feet slapped the earth, and it was like the ground itself trembled beneath. I heard the sharp breath she took, the ragged, gasping sound of something desperate, something starving. I froze. Every instinct in my body was screaming to run again, but my legs would not move. My heart raced in my chest, trying to beat its way out. My throat was dry, tight with terror, my body frozen in place as her distorted figure came closer, faster. I had only a moment before she was on me. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end, the air around me filled with something sickly sweet, like rotting fruit. She was almost there, but I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe, and then, just as she was about to reach me, her face twisted into a neutral expression. She stopped, still, just like that, as if a switch was flipped, and she was back to the expressionless, staring thing she was before. She stood, breathing heavy, eyes wide and glassy. "Sweetheart," she whispered, voice soft, too soft, a whisper that should have been a scream. "I've missed you." I couldn't speak. I didn't wait. I finally bolted. I don't remember how I made it back inside. I just know I didn't stop running. Some time had passed. There was a sound at my bedroom door. Knock knock, a slow, deliberate tapping at my door. "Sweetheart," she spoke, her voice wrong, stretched, pulled, like the phrase wasn't made for human vocal cords. "Knock knock, come out and see your mother." I clamped my hands over my ears. Then she started scratching. Not knocking, scratching, like nails dragging against wood, slow and rhythmic, like she had all the time in the world. The scratching didn't stop, not for hours, not until my dad and brother came home. Then it was dinner time, and everything was normal again. I don't know what to do. She looks like my mum, she sounds like my mum, but I don't think she is my mum, and I think whatever she is, she's getting tired of pretending.